It can be really, really frustrating if you've taken the time to put together a high quality course and it's a course that you know can really help people. And the reason for why you know this is because the few people who have bought your course have been able to apply your teachings and see the improvement in their business or their life or their hobby or whatever your course teaches. So you know it's not the course which is the problem, it's just that you are not getting anyone to buy your course. So what I wanted to do in this video is I wanted to break down the 3 biggest reasons for why people are not buying your course so that we can then reverse engineer and fix the problem so you can start seeing some more sales in your course business. Now, just in case we haven't met yet, my name is Aaron Young from 7 Figure Coaching, but this is actually my second YouTube business. And this is where I actually teach all of the principles that I learned over a 2-year journey of building my own 7-figure business. And this is off my other channel, which is all about teaching people Google Ads. And in that time, I've sold over 3,000 courses and I've got a paid community which has over 400 members. So the principles I'm going to be taking you through are proven and I know they work. And let's start off with the biggest reason for why you're not seeing any course sales. And this really comes down to you are not building a relationship with your audience. And for me, this is the biggest reason. And the reason is because if your audience are not building a relationship with you, the content creator, you're not building enough trust so that they actually feel comfortable to buy your course. And just as a side note, if I'm saying course, I'm also meaning any type of product that you're selling. So it could be your courses, it could be online coaching, it could be paid communities. But just so I don't have to say all of those things every time, let's just go with courses. And where this really comes into is that if you really want to be able to break through and connect with your audience, you really have to get into the mode of not just selling your course, but also selling the story behind your course. As I mentioned before, my other YouTube channel is all about teaching people Google Ads. I've been involved in Google Ads and digital marketing since 2010, so it's a space I know really, really well. But what's happening in that whole space is that, especially in the e-commerce space, because of large companies that are coming in, everything from Amazon to Temu's really come out of the blue, and now where I'm based in Australia, it's the 5th largest online educator. And what these large mega sites are doing is they're wiping out any brands that don't have a strong connection with their audience, remembering that that audience is all built around a story. And in fact, when I got into this course creation space and I started talking to some different friends, letting them know that I was creating a course for Google Ads, one of the biggest bits of advice or warnings or whatever you want to call it was people were worried that, why would someone buy my course, which was priced over $700 when they can go onto a site like Udemy or something like that and get a cheap course. And for some of these courses, they're under $20. But that hasn't stopped the success of our business. And it all comes down to a number of reasons. Firstly, the quality of the course, the level of support that I offer versus those cheaper courses. But at its core, it comes down to I was able to build an audience that connects with me and my story, and they trust that I'll be able to take them on this journey. So the biggest thing that you really need to focus on in order to sell more courses is that you need to build a really strong connection with your audience so that you essentially be their trusted guide that they turn to when they're wanting to learn whatever it is that you're teaching. So while we're talking about this, let's now get really practical, and let me give you some different ways that you can build a greater relationship with your audience. And the first one is to send regular emails that are not sales related. So for me and my business, how this works is that on each of the different YouTube channels that I release 2 teaching videos a week. And at the start of every week, I send an email out to both of those audiences, letting them know about the different free teaching that is coming up on YouTube and really any big industry announcements or anything they need to be aware of. But a rule that I have is that that email can have nothing to do with sales or promotions or anything like that. It's purely me communicating to my audience, hey, here's some extra free teaching that I think you should be aware of. One great example of this is that if there's ever any new updates released in any of those business niches, I make sure that I send my personal view on the update to my audience. It's a way of me connecting regularly with my audience and letting them know that, hey, have you heard about this update? Or hey, have you heard about this new strategy? Or whatever the situation would be. But the important thing is that on a weekly basis, connecting with my audience, and it has nothing to do with buying my products or letting them know about sales that are coming up. The second way of really connecting with your audience is going over the top in helping them. And this is especially important if it's the start of your journey. As your audience grows, this does become impossible to do. But right at the start of my journey, I would make a point that I would answer every single question that came through on YouTube and go over the top with my support. Now, what this did was I found that even with a very, very small audience, I was getting referrals, people coming straight in to buy my course because they'd been referred to from someone who I'd helped on YouTube. So when you have that extra time, really invest invest in going over and above and helping people who answer any questions or make any comments on your content that you put out on YouTube. And then another great way that you can really build a connection with your audience is by giving them the opportunity to have input. And a great way of doing this is putting up a community post or sending out an email and asking your community, what would you like me to teach on? And the way that I phrase this is I let them know that, hey, I'm about to go into some planning my next batch of content. What are some things that you would like me to teach on? Once again, I found this is a powerful way to get real engagement with my audience. And because I'm creating content that's specific for my audience, I'm getting really high engagement on those videos that I'm releasing. So the first big step in selling more of your courses is to build a relationship and have a level of trust with your audience. The second thing, and this is where we're getting more practical, is that you do not have a high converting sales funnel, which is connected to your YouTube channel or through to your social media platforms, whichever way you're looking at getting your leads. Now, as I said before, I made it a point that when I do email out to people on my weekly emails that I'm not selling to them, but a big mistake that you can also make as a content creator is that you are not giving your audience a chance to buy your products. Now, the way that I really switch this around is I don't really see these as sales emails. I see these as invitations to my audience in order to get some extra teaching and support from me. As I said before, I give a lot of content away for free, so I'm more than comfortable to really send out a really pointed email of, hey, have you heard about this new course? Have you heard about this paid community? Whatever the situation is, and really drill down and take each person through a structured sales journey so that you can sell more courses. But it's really, really important with your sales funnel that you don't just set and forget. It is something that you're always going to have to be toying with and testing and checking the data. And to help this to be as practical as possible, what we're going to do is we're going to jump into a screen share so I can show you how I review the data to make sure that I've always got the highest possible converting sales funnel. But before we get into that screen share, if you do want to know the strategy that I use, which has allowed me to build a 7-figure business, what I want you to do is I want you to follow that link in the description below so you can get my sales funnel building kit. Now, that only doesn't give you some example funnels, it also lays out the total strategy. I also give you access to all my high converting emails. And if you want to get all that amazing teaching resources, all you need to do is to follow that link in the description below. But as I said, let's now jump into a screen share. All right, what I'm going to be showing you here is you're looking at data from my other channel, which is based on teaching people how to do Google Ads. But what I want to just show you here, there's a couple of stats that we're looking at, and then I'll take you through my funnels. I use a platform called Kajabi for all of my course creation. You don't need to use Kajabi. This principle will work. But if you are interested in using Kajabi, also look at that link in the description below, because I am giving an offer that if you sign up with Kajabi on that link, I will also give you a review of your funnel, and you can get more information about that in the link below. But the first thing you want to be looking at is you want to be looking at your opt-ins, and this is the amount of people that sign into your lead magnets. And the biggest thing that we're looking at here is that we want to make sure that the hook that we give in our video, in order for them to enter into our database, that is working at a high level. And what we want to be seeing is we want to be seeing a conversion between 3 to 5%. So the way that you see whether this is working is that I look at my opt-ins over the last 30 days. So you can see here, we've got 6,200 opt-ins, and then I look at our YouTube views and you can see that we've got 190 YouTube views, 190,000 YouTube views. So we'll just quickly average that out. That's 6,300 divided by, let's go 197. As I said, we're just wanting a rough number here, and you can see that's coming in at 3.19. So it is on the lower scale. One thing I would like to mention there, that I know that I've done some different content recently and they're not going to an opt-in, they're going to a direct or a buy page. So we know our revenue's gone up. So that's nothing that we're too worried about. But if you see that that number gets too low, you then firstly know that you need to work further on your lead magnets or even your delivery in the YouTube video as to how you're getting them into your sales funnel. And then the other part is that you want to go through and start looking at your different funnels and how they're performing. What I want to show you through here is a funnel that we just set up not too long ago. And this one has only had under 600 people go through it. So it's not a large one yet. As you can see, some of these other ones have, thousands and thousands of people that have gone through. And as you can see, we're testing this all of the time until we get those conversion rates up to above that 3 to 5%. But what this allows me to do is I can then go through, and what I'm looking at here, so I can see this one's converting at 4%. The other thing I would say about this revenue is that it will actually be much higher than that. We've had 9 conversions. These conversions are for a monthly subscription, which has a lifetime value of over $2,500. So we know that by the end of this year, this figure will be already above 25,000, even if we only have these 9 users. So we know this is working well. And what we can also do is when we go into our email sequences, I'm seeing the different sends. sends, the different opens, the different click rates. What I'm doing is I'm reviewing and looking at the data and going, where are people dropping out of this email funnel? Is it on these different opt-in pages? So I can see, this one started at 600. We've had people come back to this one. That's why that number is higher. And then we've actually got them going through to the purchase page. So what I'm really doing is I'm diving into these numbers and looking at different ways that I can get higher engagement levels and higher opt-in levels. Now, as I said, if you're not using Kajabi, or if you're using another platform, the things will look different there. But what you really need to be focusing on is, as I said, you want to make sure that when people are watching your YouTube videos or your different pieces of content, that you've got a lead magnet that is set right in order to make sure that from views or interactions, you're converting at about 3 to 5%. And then you also want to be looking at your sales funnels to make sure that at every level, the landing pages and the emails, they are converting. And if they're not converting, you want to keep changing them until you get that right formula. Kind of seeing it like it's like a Rubik's Cube that you have to solve. So firstly, you want to make sure that you're building a relationship of trust with your audience. Secondly, you want to be a master of your own analytics, and you really want to make sure that you're reviewing your sales funnel to make sure that you're converting at the right percentages at every level, from views to opt-ins to sales. And then the third area that people do get wrong, and the reason for why you're not selling your course, is that your pricing strategy is wrong. Now, when I talk about pricing, there's two core things that you need to get right. You don't only want to be having the right price, but you also want to be removing those obstacles from people buying your course. Let's firstly start with removing those obstacles. Now, the biggest thing that I've found that will really help boost your sales is by offering a money back guarantee. The reason why I've always offered this is because it just speaks confidence to my audience, where we say, if you don't like my course for any reason, we'll give you a 100% money back guarantee. And what this also does is that it just removes any hint of this being a scam or you not being comfortable with the quality of your course. So as a no-brainer, I would be saying, if you don't have a money back guarantee, I would be making sure that I add a money back guarantee as soon as possible to your pricing structures. And then the second thing that you really need to get right is something which we call price elasticity. The beauty with courses is that because once you've created that course, you can really sell it for no effort at all. Because it's a digital content, you don't have to worry about printing, you don't have to worry about postage. So what you want to be doing is you want to find that right balance where you're not overpricing it so no one is buying it, but then you're not underpricing it and leaving money on the table. And the concept we talk about here is price elasticity, and that's all about where can you price it right to get the right mix of volume and sales. Let me give you an example of this, of how much getting the pricing right can really affect the success of your business. We've got an introductory mini course that we offer. And the reason why this mini course is really, really important, it's kind of like the stepping stone in our full sales funnel, where they buy one of our modules, and that then allows us to build extra relationship with them and really come through and upsell them. So this mini course sells at $49. The full course sells at $800. So you can see there's a big difference. But what we found that I think it was 93% of all of our full course purchases started with this mini course. So this is a really, really important piece of the puzzle. When we launched this mini course, we started it at $99. We were getting 2 or 3 sales a month, which was not enough for what we needed. We then dropped that down to $69, and it went to about 2 or 3 sales a week, which was better, but not at the volume that we needed. And then we dropped that price down to $49, and the floodgates open, and we were getting up to 10 to 15 sales a day, which was more than enough of what we needed for that brand to really scale that business. But what I want to point out there is that this was the same course going to the same audience. The only thing we changed was the price, and we really got it to the point where it was able to sell at the volume we required. So that's just another thing to think about. Now, I don't want you to read that as just to lower your price, but what you want to be doing is you want to be making sure that you've set your price at that right elasticity, where you're getting the right amount of volume for the highest price possible. Thank you for joining me. It's been my absolute pleasure having you here. And remember, if you want some more assistance with your sales funnel so you can get some more sales for your courses, make sure you follow that link in the description below. And if you'd like to see more about a step-by-step process on how to have an evergreen sales funnel for your courses, go through and watch this video right here. My name is Aaron Young from 7 Figure Coaching, and I look forward to seeing you in this video real soon. See ya.